Hello, I'm Wendy, and welcome to the Mountain Farmhouse. If you're new here, I'd like to offer you an extra special welcome, and I hope that you enjoy this video and will give it a like, thumbs up, subscribe, and share. Today we're going to talk about composting. It's a little bit windy out here, so forgive me. I hope that this will translate well. Well, anyway, this is our current compost setup. And when we began our journey with organic gardening and permaculture and all of that, we had to learn a little bit about it. But at the time, we had a much smaller piece of property, and with this size of a store-bought unit fit really well. And where we used to live, they had programs through the county. I think that you could get a reduced price on one. You can check with your own local county and cooperative extension or whatever and find out if they have any kind of similar program. But this we bought actually at a store, and it works real well. It does have a crack in the top, but it still does the job. And you can see down here all that beautiful dirt. And when we wanted to expand, we were trying to think of a budget-friendly way to do it. So Joel had found information about using trash barrels. So here we are with these two trash barrels. And, oh, here's the wind. I'm going to show you this one because it still has a strap on it. I don't know what happened to the other one, but the strap helps keep the lid on, you know, discouraging little creatures from opening it. And down here you can see a hole drilled. He drilled a couple of holes going around, you know, the sides of it, and I think there might be a couple in the bottom as well, which, you know, enhances the air circulation, of course. These also work really, really well, and if you're looking for a budget-friendly option, this one really does fit the bill. Now, another thing, and this is the most recent one, and this was fun. Joel found some old pallets in the barn. We checked to make sure they were not chemically treated. Don't worry, they were heat treated. And in these, he attached the three sides together, so you can see here, here, and here. And we lined it with some chicken wire. We just stapled that on. And he just attached them together with nails and screws, the actual pallets, that is. And then for a door, I mean, you could leave it all the way open in the front if you wanted, but we wanted to put a little door, so he found some barnwood and slapped that together and put hinges over here so that we can easily open and shut the door. And then instead of a special fancy latch, we just found some old thick wire, and that does the trick, keeping it closed enough. And also down here you can see some of it anyway that's broken down, some of that real pretty earth that we like to put that in the garden, and yep, it works real well. Now for one more option, when we run out of space, which we do frequently in these, we just kind of pile it up, and it's sort of hidden back behind this stone wall, so you can't see it, you know, as easily as you might think. But we are thinking of maybe adding some more compost containers and maybe setting this up a little bit differently so that we can kind of stir one, move it to the next, and that sort of thing. That's that could be a way to help it break down more quickly. Another option, this is not a compost bin per se, but the idea is the same. This is actually our makeshift fence that we put around our sunchokes. And the reason that we have it around our sunchokes is to keep the creatures from coming in and chewing them, because apparently when they're just really small, they must taste really good to bunnies and deer and that sort of thing. But anyway, what I have a couple of friends, and what they have done is taken fence posts or garden stakes and put them in a configuration. You can do it like this, like in a big square, or maybe make it kind of round, like a cylinder shape. And then they wrap chicken wire around it, and they just dump the food scraps and the coffee grounds and the eggshells and the grass clippings and all of that into the top, and give it a stir every now and then, and it works real well as well. Let's talk about what we're going to put into our compost. If you've done any reading or anything, know anything about compost, whether you do or not, usually you'll see the ingredients being referred to in primarily two categories, green or brown. I don't like to say green or brown because I think the color green and the color brown, and instead of saying green or brown, I'd rather say wet or dry. Green being wet, brown being dry. Now, the reason that I say this is because in the wet or green list of ingredients, you'll see things like coffee grounds. Well, that's brown in color. So that to me is confusing. I don't know about you, but I need it to be very simple. Brown ingredients, for the most part, are brown in color, but occasionally maybe you'll want to put some dried grass clippings in there, and they might still be a little bit green. So I want to steer away from naming them by a color. It's too confusing. If you're very scientific, maybe it's not that confusing for you, but I'm not really that scientific. So, but what I will tell you is this: the wet ingredients, or green, are rich in nitrogen, and the brown ingredients, or the dry ones, are rich in carbon. Now you need a combination of both at an appropriate ratio, and I will tell you that you're going to get different information about this everywhere as well. Some people say just try to make it 50-50. Others say 3 parts dry to 1 part wet. You're going to have to probably play with it a little bit depending on your climate, your environment, your growing zone. If you get a lot of rainfall, for example, maybe that's going to factor in here and you won't need to add as many wet things. It really depends on your situation. So if you have something that's very dry, if you live in an area that's very dry, and you have to keep adding wet to it, you might want to make sure that you have a cover on the top of the compost to kind of help keep in the moisture. That can also limit the amount of excessive rainfall if you get a lot of that from getting in. So just make sure that you stir it, you stay on top of it, you look at it, you have a relationship with it, so that you see what's happening and how quickly or slowly it's breaking down. I'm going to leave a list of some suggested wet or dry items in the next frame, and I'm also going to leave a link in the description for the blog post, which will also go into a little bit more detail on the ingredients that you would put in your compost. Now, aside from the wet and the dry, you also could add some things like eggshells or seashells, that kind of thing. And those are high in calcium, minerals, that will also enhance the nutrient quality of your compost. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video about composting. I hope that it helps make it a little easier to understand and less, frightening. If you already know a lot about composting, maybe leave some tips in the comments below. And if you have any other questions, leave those in the comment section below as well. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Bye for now.